So, how fresh does your data need to be? In this video, the objective is to help business owners understand data freshness requirements and the cost trade-offs. So, you've built your AI system, you've organized your information, but now you face a new question that most businesses don't answer until it costs them money, which is how fresh does my data need to be? Does your AI need information that's real time, which is what's happening right now, fresh, which is probably within the last hour, current within the last day, and or old within maybe the last week? The answer determines both your AI's quality and what you pay for it. Get this wrong, and you're either overpaying significantly or your AI is making decisions on stale information. Now, imagine you're a stock trader. You need the stock price right now. If your price is 5 minutes old, you could lose thousands in that gap. Now, imagine you're a restaurant manager. You need to know, did we sell 100 pizzas or 102 pizzas today? Does it matter if you know it tonight or tomorrow morning? Probably not. The same question applies to your AI. How fresh does your data need to be? And the answer isn't as fresh as possible. It's as fresh as necessary. So in this video is about figuring out that balance for your business. Starting off at the freshness. So, what is data freshness? Data freshness is the timeliness of information in your system, measured as the time lag between when something happens in the real world and when that information is available for your AI to use. There are 6 freshness levels. Each costs different and works for different situations. Right. So, level 1, which is real-time processing, data is instantly available. It works with streaming, live updates, millisecond latency. It's most appropriate for fraud detection, surge pricing, and trading systems. For example, credit card company detecting fraudulent transaction in real time. Secondly is near real time, which would be probably 1 to 5 minutes. Data updated frequently throughout the day. How it works: streaming with slight delay, batches every few minutes. And so you'd use this when, for example, for live dashboards, such as status boards, which needs frequent updates, customer service dashboards, and performance monitoring. Here it would be, for example, an e-commerce dashboard showing current orders. And then level 3 is fast, right? So what's the definition? So essentially the data refreshed very frequently but with small delay. Batch processing every couple of minutes. Most appropriate when it's for real-time recommendations, quick dashboards, event-based processing. For example, your website showing recommended products updating throughout the day. Level 4 was hourly, right? Where data is updated once per hour. How it works: hourly batch jobs you'd use when the operational dashboards you'd use for operational dashboards, daily reports, inventory systems, which would be updated hourly. For example, like I said, the manager checking inventory levels hourly. Then there's level 5, right, which is daily, which is 24 hours, data refreshed once per day. It works overnight. And you use it for strategy and planning. Daily, which is probably daily, is fine for decisions, for historical analysis and customer analytics. For example, your finance team reviewing sales from yesterday. Then there's level 6, right, which is weekly. And so data is refreshed weekly or less. How it works: weekly batch jobs or manual exports. You'd use it when you need to for archive and history, old data with long-term trends, compliance and audits, infrequent analysis, for example, quarterly business review of 90-day trends. And so data freshness essentially has a spectrum. Think of it like temperature control with real time, like a stockbroker, starting with real time, like a stockbroker, watching live markets, inventory updates continuously, used for, surge pricing, fraud detection, high frequency decisions, with the cost being very expensive. For example, the Uber surge pricing, which is the need, current supply and demand, and there's near time, like a news ticker where information updates every few minutes, which would be, like I had said, used for dashboards, alerts, monitoring, which is also expensive. And the example would be like a website showing users online right now. And then there's hourly, like a news broadcast with information updates every 1 to 4 hours, used for operational reports, learning systems, and for example, the sales dashboard updated hourly. There's daily, like a newspaper, information updates once per day, used for strategic reports, long-term learning. For example, yesterday's sales report. It is weekly, like a monthly magazine, information updates once per week or month, used for compliance, archival, historical analysis, for example, monthly financial statements. And hence, this should be a question, right? Which freshness do you actually need for each piece of information, right? And so here, like I said, there's real-time processing, batch processing, and most companies don't actually need real-time for everything, you know. So starting off with e-commerce, right? So let's say you're an e-commerce company building an AI for inventory management. Different pieces of information need different freshness. So, for example, your real time would be customer is clicking buy right now, your stock level right now, your price right now. Why is this? Why is this the case? If someone buys, inventory must instantly drop so you don't oversell. And so it's like basically like a cashier updating the till instantly with each sale. Hourly inventory trends. Is this item selling faster? Popular items. What's customers buying today? Why is this important? It helps with restocking decisions, but 1 hour delay is acceptable. It's like a manager checking sales log hourly. Daily financial reconciliation, which is like the total sales, the supplier status. Did supplier deliver? Why is this important? For accounting and planning, overnight is fine. It's like an accountant reviewing daily summary. You don't pay for real time on everything. You identify what needs real time. Then there's the SaaS product, right? So now you're a you're a SaaS company with user analytics. Your real time, is the service up right now? Are customers experiencing errors right now? Why is this important? The service health is critical. Need to detect problems instantly. It's like hospital monitoring patients' vital signs continuously. There's near real time. What features are customers using today? Are there usage spikes happening? Why is this important? Product teams need to respond to user behavior quickly. It's like a store manager checking checkouts frequency hourly. There's daily. How many active users today? What's our conversion rate today? Why? Strategic metrics. Overnight reporting is fine. It's like company reviewing yesterday's performance. You pay for what you actually need. not highest freshness everywhere, essentially. And so this leads us to the cost benefit equation, which leads us to our freshness SLA. What is your freshness SLA, right? Your freshness SLA is your service level agreement specifying maximum acceptable age for each data source or feature aligned with business requirements. Here's how to determine what freshness you need for each data source. Step one is list your data sources. Go back to your inventory, write which source, write the sources, right? For example, your inventory could be a customer profile, order history, inventory levels, competitor prices, weather data, user behavior, tracking, descriptions, payment history, you know, that of the sort, right? Um, Step two, for each source, ask 3 questions. For each data source, answer question one: how critical is this data to business? Critical being like, if it's critical, the business breaks without it, then fresher is needed, right? Importance, medium freshness, nice to have, old data is okay. Question two: what's the cost of this data being 1 day old? High cost, you know, a low cost, medium cost, that's that helps you determine your freshness level, right? And then there is, I just fought. And then there's, question three, which is, how often this data changes, right? Which is, maybe it changes constantly, changes daily, maybe weekly. A weekly update is sufficient, you know. And so then the step three, which is mapped to freshness levels, critical plus high cost plus constant changes equals, real time. Importance plus medium cost plus daily changes falls to hourly. Nice to have, low cost weekly changes daily to weekly. And so here's how to define your freshness SLA for each piece of information, right? And I'm gonna use the analogy. Step one, ask what happens if this is 1 day old. If bad, you probably need hourly or real time. If acceptable, data daily is fine. Step two, ask what's the cost of being wrong. If it's high, pay for freshness. If low, accept older data. Step three, ask how much does freshness actually improve our AI. Calculate, would real time make 5% difference or 50% difference? And so, for example, right, the customer purchase history. Step one, if 1 day old, recommendations are less personalized. Step two, cost of being wrong. And wait, let me step, for example, right, your customer purchase history. Step one, if 1 day old, recommendations are less personalized as acceptable. Step two, cost of being off equals 3% lower conversion. Step three, real time improvements equals 5% in value. So the decision would be hourly, which balances cost and value. Then there's fraud detection. Step one, if 1 day old, we approve fraudulent transactions, which is bad. Step two, cost could be any amounts and losses. Step three, the amount in fraud losses. Then the step three, which is real time, prevents fraud 95% by 95%, right? And so the decision would be to pay for real time is justified. Inventory levels, for example, if it's 1 day old, don't oversell, which is still acceptable with buffer. The cost would be maybe 1% lost sales. And so step three, real time improvement, would be 2%. So the decision of paying for hourly is sufficient. And so, yeah, man, what you need to know about your data freshness. Real time needed only for fraud detection, pricing, trades, hourly sufficient for customer service, operations, daily sufficient for strategy, planning, recommendations, weekly okay, which is okay for your history, archives, and compliance. Most data in most companies can be 24 hours old. Yeah, that's it.